Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today it's just going to be a quick reading update and a look at my April TBR to see what I'm looking at reading in April. So first of all, what I'm currently reading is The Wastelands by Stephen King. This was the last book on my March TBR. I didn't quite get to start it until the last day of the month, so it's rolling over into April, about 100 pages in so far. Enjoying it pretty much, probably the best of the three so far, I'd say. I enjoyed the first two, but this one's just getting straight into the story and yeah, enjoying this one. Another book that I'm actually currently reading at the moment, reading that on ebook, is The Shadow Glass by Joss Winning. I only heard about this one for a friend who's interested in it. It's got some 80s themes to it and vibes, a lot of Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal, things like that, so I was curious about it. So I'm reading that one on ebook, and I'm sort of jumping in and out of that one as and when, so I'm taking it quite slowly. But it's enjoyable so far, so that's one that I'm currently reading. But as far as the official TBR for April, if you remember, I always try and do one science fiction, one fantasy, and one indie book a month, plus any more depending on time. So first up, my fantasy book for the month is going to be The Sword of the Lichter by Gene Wolfe, which is the third book in the Book of the New Sun series. Read the first two so far this year. I read that along with Media Death Cult, who have a read along at the moment. It's very good because they're quite complicated books. They're almost classed as fantasy / sci-fi, and Media Death Cult's doing some fantastic videos going through the plot and sort of explaining to a point what happens in them. They're very enjoyable, but they do have a sort of dreamlike quality to them. But yeah, Sword of the Lichter is the third book, so that's going to be my sci-fi book for April. For my fantasy book, it's not actually out yet. It is The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne, which is the sequel to The Shadow of the Gods. It comes out on the 12th of April, so I'm going to be picking that up on release and reading that one. I read The Shadow of the Gods last month and I thought it was a really great book. I enjoyed Gwynne's Faithful and the Fallen series, which came before, and yeah, The Shadow of the Gods just brings in Norse fantasy really well. I'll probably have a quick review of that in another video, but really enjoying the series and looking forward to the sequel, so that's going to be my fantasy book. As far as my indie book for the month, I'm going to be doing it on audio this month, and that is going to be Unsold, which is book one of the Cradle series by Will White. It's quite a big independent book. Self-published wise, it's probably one of the biggest of the book series out there. There's a few other indies that have been really big, but his series has done really well. So I'm curious to see what the fuss is about, really. I've heard that the first few books, while good, it takes a while to get into sort of being great, so I wanted to get the first one down. If I enjoy it on audio, I'm sure I'll sort of continue through the rest of them. The reason I'm doing it on audio is mainly because of one of the next books that's coming up is one of the big ones, so I want to make sure that I'm getting the audio versions of that one in, and then if I like it, like I say, I'll continue on as an audio for the series. So yes, the big book for the month, which should be towards the end, this will be the last physical book I read. There'll be a couple more audio ones which I'll go through in a moment, but that is Dust of Dreams by Stephen Erickson. It's the 9th book in the 10-book Miles and Book of the Fallen series. It is a massive book, so it's probably going to take me, I'll be honest, it's probably going to be more of May's reading than April's, but we'll see how I get on with that. Looking forward to getting through the series. It's been hit and miss. I've enjoyed some aspects and not enjoyed some others, but when you read 8 books in the 10-book series, I'm not going to stop now, so I'm going to get through it. So I'll be reading this one in sort of April, May, and then probably pick up the last book towards June, July time, I think. Probably July. Final book that I'm going to be looking at doing audio, although I read the first book in the series in the physical copy, which you can see behind me. It is The Knight's Shadow by Sebastian de Castell. I read Traitor's Blade, which is the first one in the series at the start of the year. While I enjoyed it, it wasn't amazing, it wasn't my favourite book, but I hear a lot of people say it's a great series, so I want to continue because I've got a lot of physical books that I want to read. I decided I'm going to jump onto this one on audio. One of the reasons that I chose to do the rest of them potentially on audio is that it's in first person, which I think always works really well for audiobooks, because it adds that sort of more direct connection between you and the reader, because it's like they're talking to you. I think the best example of that is the Dresden Files series, which I really enjoyed on audiobook. So yeah, I'm hoping this one has that same direct feel to it. And yeah, that'll allow me to go through that series, because I think there's 4 books currently out for that. So that's my reading plans for April. We'll see how I go. Like I said, I can see Dust of Dreams, the Malazan book, rolling over into most of May, depending how we go. But yeah, if you've read or planning to read any of these, do let me know, and I'd love to hear from you. And if you're reading anything else that you think I should check out, especially indie books, drop some comments below, because I'm always looking for new indie books to read and at least spotlight a little bit on the videos. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.